Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of my favourite people, some of the world's biggest stars, and a man who has the voice of a genius. Russell Watson, how are you?
Thank you. What a build-up.
Well, you deserve it, and I'll tell you why. I've been trying to talk to you now for 2 weeks. We've had 74 different appointments, and every time you've found a reason not to talk to me. Now, is it personal?
Only a little bit. How long have you been stalking me now, is it?
It's our 10-year anniversary of an interview, which is not bad, is it?
That's pretty good.
It must be fantastic being you. You're still selling out. I said to you right at the beginning, we did an hour special for the BBC when you had your first album out, and I was blown away by your voice and your character on stage, and your fans have stuck with you. That's a huge achievement.
You know, it does feel good. There are plenty of times where, you know, I look back on my career in retrospect, and I believe that I'm in my 15th year as a recording artist, and it's been 25 years since I first started treading the boards back in 1990. And during that time, I've built a fantastic fan base that haven't been, you know, fickle. Like some of the, you know, you see the pop bands and some of the new trend, the on-trend artists coming in, and they come in with a big bang, and they're all over TV and all over the planet. And then a couple of years later, you don't hear from them again. And I've been very, very fortunate that I don't have a fickle audience, and there are a group of people that have, you know, stuck with me, and we're still selling concerts out all over the UK. We're 75 shows I'm going to be doing this year, which is the biggest undertaking I've ever done for any tour ever, actually, in my career.
You make a very good point. I say on my dating profile, you know, ladies, the problem is with a huge rise comes a huge fall. And you've avoided that, which is amazing. And of course, with all these gigs you're doing, it's a new intimate Russell. How intimate do we get?
Well, for instance, if there's a spare seat in the front row, then I'll probably use it for the first half.
Well, you need to lie down every now and again. I mean, all this travelling, it can be tiring, can't it?
By the way, there've been, every artist will tell you this, there's been plenty of downs. There's been, you know, I've had a very blessed career. I've been very lucky to have been able to sustain my career. But in some respects, you know, that old saying, you make your own luck, and you do. You know, it takes a lot of hard work and dedication and commitment. And there are certain aspects of my career where, you know, there have been things that I've done and maybe records that I've released, which I won't mention, but where I've not felt like I've been in control, and as a result, they've not performed as well as I would have liked. And as a result of that, there have been, you know, the peaks, but there have also been the moments where I thought, well, I wasn't really happy with that time, but it's. The thing is, like with anything in life, you know, it doesn't matter what you do, whether you're a sports person, whether you're a musician, the key to is how you come back from the moments in your life that you don't necessarily think are the best. It's how you come back from what, you know, certain periods in my life where I think, you know what, that didn't work very well, and I failed there, and it's how you come back from that's crucial, I think. The knockbacks that I got in the first 8 or 9 years of my career, I mean, the amount of times that, you know, during that period of time when I was working in the clubs, the amount of times that I was promised certain things and they never came to fruition, and then you'd be knocking on doors, and 99% of the time you'd get a no, you know, no thanks, and it's the school of hard knocks, the music industry. It's how you respond to all the no's. It's how you just keep forging forward. And I think it's one of those industries where I don't know, I guess it's like turtle eggs on a beach. You know, millions of them are going to get ate by birds and so on, and some of them are going to get washed away by the sea, and then there's, you know, a handful that actually make it, you know, and hatch, and it's the same with the music career. A lot of people are going to get washed away by the sea, and a lot of people are going to get ate up by the music industry. A strange analogy, I know.
I think the sperm and the baby's a better one, to be honest with you, Russell, if I'm being perfect.
thing, and I was watching turtles laying millions and millions of eggs on this beach, and David, at the end, David Attenborough said, and only a handful of these eggs will ever hatch and actually produce turtles. And I thought, it's a bit like the music industry.
It's true. I mean, your head goes to turtles, mine goes to sperm. I suppose it says more about me than it does you, really, doesn't it? Do you know what I love about you, though? Through the good, the bad, the health, the non-health, the getting better, the recovery, the business, through show business, through the shysters who try and manage you and try and ruin you, try and make you, try and break you, is you've always had a talent. And it must be a great relief to wake up in the morning knowing that you're not just on telly because you've got big knockers on a reality show. I think we're coming to a point where we're a bit tired of all that. It must be devastating if you're famous for nothing. At least you've got a gift and you'll always work, whether it's a working men's club or the Royal Albert Hall.
Well, that's one of the things that I take solace in. You know, when for instance things don't quite go my way in the industry, and the classical crossover genre in particular, I think in the recent sort of the last 4 or 5 years has become really, really heavily congested. I'm up against a previous record label that continues to regurgitate old material. It really infuriates me. I see a new record coming out from my old record label nearly every week, and they're just conning my fans, you know, into buying something that they've already got with just a different label or packaging to it. And I think that's deplorable. That's one of the things that you're up against. Another thing as well is, while I'm ranting on, is there's a lot. I'm a big advocate for the British talent show. I think there's a place for it in our history, our heritage. It's something that has always been, and I like the shows, but there's too many of them now. There's all these shows geared up for discovering and finding new talent, and then once we've discovered the talent, the question is, where do they go?
Right.
There's very few mediums that support artists that have careers. Artists will often, from the talent show, it's very clear that they generate the interest is generated from the 18 or so weeks that they're all over national television. And that's the point I'm making, is once those 18 weeks are complete, where do they go to sustain their career and maintain that level of exposure? Yeah. And the answer is, there's nowhere, because nearly every show that's music oriented or based on telly now is a talent show.
I hear what you're saying, but you don't have to worry about that. No reality TV for you. Could you ever be convinced to get your clothes off in the jungle, or perhaps pop into Big Brother?
I've been asked on several occasions to do the jungle, but it just wouldn't be plausible for me, because the medication, the daily routine that I have to go through on medication, you know, because of what the tumour did in my skull, it basically destroyed my pituitary gland, and I have to administer all my bodily hormones via either an injection or a tablet, and it just wouldn't be plausible to do something like that. Let's just say I wouldn't want to ever get washed up on a desert island. I wouldn't last more than 24 hours without my medication.
I always ask you this question, and I mean it with all sincerity. How are you literally? I mean, do you wake up in the morning feeling 100%, 50%? Where are you at now?
Well, I have to take, again, as I said, you know, my body doesn't produce hormones naturally. I have to take them either orally or via injection. So when I wake up in the morning, it's until I've taken my hydrocortisone, which once I've taken, hits the bloodstream and transfers into cortisol. That in essence is what wakes me up and kind of gets my body functioning. So I'll take say I wake up at 8 o'clock, I'll take my tablet. By 9 o'clock, I'm starting to, you know, come around. And that's a regular morning sort of, you know, that's what happens in the morning for me. But it's something that I've got used to waking up and feeling like not very good. I take my tablet and just wait. The effects sort of slowly starts, and gradually I start to wake up and feel like a normal human being again. But yeah, it's a small price to pay for what I've had wrong with. Hypothetically speaking, when I get out of bed and I look out of the window, it's the start of a new day. And when I think most people who've been really poorly in their lives will tell you that, particularly with me, it's not happened once, it's been a couple of times. And I look out of the window and it's a new day. I live for the day. Yesterday's gone and tomorrow might never happen. And I live life by the day and enjoy it for what it is. Every day brings something different, something new and something unique.
Do you wake up every day and wonder, is it going to go wrong, or do you just have to put it all behind you and look forward and see the optimism and the blessing that you're even able to wake up in the morning? Because there was a point where it looked devastatingly bad. How do you view your life now and your future?
Until someone actually mentions the illness, I don't really, it's not something that's on my mind, because my life philosophy now is to live each day as it comes, and I appreciate what I have. I have a greater understanding, I think, of my mortality. And for 2 years after my second operation, because I mean, basically, I went to bed one night and I didn't wake up in the morning. I was carted down the stairs of my home by two paramedics and put into the back of an ambulance with a chap stood over me saying, "Stay with us, mate." And that's when I knew I was in trouble, and I felt like I was going to sleep and waking up, but was told later that I was flicking in and out of consciousness. And when that happens to you, there's a period of time afterwards where, for the year or two that followed that, I was going to bed at night thinking, am I going to die tonight? Will I wake up in the morning? Will the same thing happen to me that happened to me then? And it was only a couple of years down the line, I mentioned it to my endocrinologist, and I said, oh God, for 2 years I felt like this. And it's funny because she said, oh, that's such a typical, male thing to do, is just try to deal with it and not mention it to anybody. She said, because you could have had counselling for that, for how you felt. But I kind of dealt with it in my own way.
Well, I think
slowly that feeling went away.
I think, like all of your fans, your story is utterly inspiring. And then I wonder how it felt for the first time to sing again and realise you could still do it and you could still be Russell Watson. Is there any way of describing the relief that you felt when you finally realised you could sing as well as you could before?
I think the relief came more from the recovery from my illness, because there was a point where I wasn't sure that whether or not I was going to recover from it. So when I started to feel better, and I'll be absolutely honest with you, this year now, and it's nearly 7-8 years after my second tumour, this year is the first year where I've genuinely started to feel like myself again. It's taken that long to get to this point in life where I feel well again, really well, and vocally where I feel like I felt, before I was poorly, where my voice feels strong and I feel the infrastructure of my voice, my physical strength feels as good as it did before, and I'm able to, train and work out physical exercise to the same level as before. This is the first year I've felt that.
You're one of the most humble guys I've ever met, and one of the most unassuming as well. I wonder whether you ever consider your magnificence, what it sounds like when you're stood on stage belting out Nessun Dorma or something like that, and we're there to enjoy it. Do you even go there, or do you just do what you do and leave it at the stage door?
I don't go there. It's great when you get compliments from people. It's lovely to have people say nice things about you, but it's left in the moment. It just, I don't think it's right to take that kind of adulation everywhere you go, because it's again, making the relation between sport and performance you're only as good as your last game. So if you scored a hat trick and everybody's telling you what a fantastic game you had, and then the next game you're on, you make a hash of it. So you have to. What I'm saying is that you have to say, you have to live for that moment, because the next time you go on stage, you know that you've got to stay in the zone to make sure that each performance is up to the level that, I expect a certain level from myself, and if I don't deliver that, I feel disappointed. I'll give you an example. I did a concert actually. It was in Brighton, and I felt on the night, it was at the Dome, and on the night I really didn't feel well. I had a throat infection. My vocal gland, my glands in my throat were all swollen, and I had the onsets of a really nasty throat infection. And I didn't perform well, I didn't sing well, I didn't feel well, I didn't entertain well. I walked off the stage at the end of the night, and the audience knew. The response, the reaction from the audience wasn't good, and we went back to Brighton the following year, and it was half the people that that were there the year before had come to see me, because they know when you're not on. I didn't say I'm ill, I don't feel very well, please come back next year, but the audience knew. Yeah. So you know that when you go out on that stage, you have to keep the levels up there, because if you don't, people will not come back to watch you again the following year.
So the next obvious question then is, how do you cope with the mental pressure of sounding like Russell Watson every time you walk on a stage? Because that could drive you nuts, couldn't it?
But that's where the philosophy that I have, my life philosophy now is, each day is independent to the next. Yeah. So I don't feel pressurised. When I walk out on stage tonight at Swansea, I'm going to walk out on that stage and deliver the show that is to the best of my ability that evening. And hopefully it will be everything that I want it to be. If it's not, there's nothing I can do about it. It's just the way it is. But like, for instance, today I'm in the right mindset, and that's another thing as well with life, I think, is, I'm a big believer in positive mental attitude. I'm a big believer in a positive outlook on life. And if you think positively and your outlook is positive, that you will attract positivity towards you, and good things will happen. But when you're in a negative mindset and you're walking on a stage, and I really believe this, that a very, very high percentage of the singing game is based around confidence and positivity. And if you have that, you're halfway there. And that's my life philosophy. It's positive thinking, and a positive attitude draws more positivity towards you. Lots of positives.
And then, of course, being a nice bit of trouser and a sex symbol for the masses, I mean, does this help as well? As you know, I'm a deeply unattractive man. You have that blessing as well. It must be great being you.
Well, I wouldn't describe myself as a sex symbol. Look at myself in the mirror and think, wow. I just think, yeah, you look all right today, mate. Well done.
I can't believe you've never looked in a mirror and said, I am delicious. You've never done that?
There may have been a period, I don't know, sort of, I think 10, 15 years, maybe 10, 11, 12 years ago, I thought, there was a point in my life where I thought, yeah, I was in fantastic shape. I was working out every day of the week, and I thought at that point I looked really, really, really good. But there's never ever been any point in my life where I thought, yeah, I'm a sex symbol. Ever.
But there are those around you who think you are, and you have a delicious current Mrs. Watson, and of course 2 daughters who adore you. Life's not bad, is it? You're back on the road, you're feeling well, you've got a missus, 2 daughters who adore you. I mean, it's all come full circle, and you're back on top. I suppose that's a lovely way to end this interview, that being on tour and being happy is the ultimate fulfillment and the ultimate goal in life.
It is, very much so. And again, the people that I want to please the most in my life are obviously my close friends, family, my partner, and my kids. You know, I want stability for my family. It's good. There's a lot of happiness in the household now. It's not always been that way because of the turbulence that we had with the illness, but there's a lot of happiness in the house now, and there's a real feel-good factor. I love nothing more than all I've ever wanted from my career, and this is where the problems have come with record companies and management. All I've ever wanted and all I've ever asked for is I want to work, I want to go out, I want to be on stage, I want the light shining on my face, I want the audience there, and I want to sing. That's all I want. And this year, I've finally found a group of people who have been able to deliver that dream, and it's a fantastic feeling. And I'm in a really, really good place, and hopefully that's going to continue for a long time.
You have a stunning talent, and this new tour really exposes that more than ever before. It's not bells and whistles, it's more intimate. There's less of an orchestra and more of you. I guess this is what your fans have been waiting for your entire career, really, to hear you at your best, performing at your most confident.
I don't know. I guess people view it, you know, if people, the fans that have been watching me for a long time. There was a lady after one of the shows I did the other evening. She came over and it was her. You know, she says, we always love what you do. She says, but you know, tonight you just sounded like you were back to your best, and your voice sounded fantastic, and you were so relaxed on stage. She said it was really amazing. I'm so happy for you, and I think that just sums up the whole kind of feeling right now. What that lady said to me.
You deserve every success. As you know, I'm one of your biggest fans. It's been great talking to you again. I'm going to come and see you in Leicester this new tour. You can put in Russell Watson Tour. The website will come up and you can find out all the details. I mean, we should remember, of course, you do have a little bit of a vicious side to you, Russell. Not many people know this, but of course in 2006 we had a bit of a row whilst at Capitol Gold, and you thought it was appropriate to mock me with this.
He's fat, he is much fatter than Rick Waller, but not as rude. Rick's rather crude. He's fun, but not as fun as Katie Moss. No, he likes a joke, not sniffing coke. He's live across the nation every day now. Oh, what a thrill! Please pass my pills. Alex, fun and on the dial. Alex, as fun as painful pals. He's got 2 whopping double D cups and 11 double gins. Let's hope they'll stop him eating second-hand food out of bins. He's ginge. Oh, what a shame that everyone laughs. It makes him cringe and often whinge. He's straight, although he loves a good old show tune that is quite gay. What can you say? He's small, it's such a shame he's half an inch. Oh, who is to blame? His dad's called Jane. Girls laugh, it is so queer, they are in fear. Oh, don't want him near, they sit and sneer. Alex, fun and on the dial. Alex, as fun as painful pals. He's got 2 whopping double D cups and 11 double gins. Let's hope that stops him eating second-hand fruit out of bins. Alex, fun and on the dial. Alex, as fun as painful pals. He's got 2 whopping double D cups and 11 double gins. Hope that stops him eating second-hand fruit out of bins.
Why did you need to record that? Funicular, mocking my man boobs, back fat and being deeply unattractive. Not nice.
Well, as you know, strictly between you and I'm not a very nice person.
It's not nice, not nice. Hey, listen, Russell Watson, one of my favourite people. Can't wait to see you on tour with this brand new gig, doing the business across the UK. More shows than ever this year, which is a testament to your success, popularity and career. I wish you all the best, Russell. Thank you for another chat.
Thanks, Alex. It's always a pleasure. Thanks very much.